Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving headfirst into a leadership dilemma that feels, well, more relevant now than ever before. It's about managing your team, especially in this, ever-evolving remote world. How do you do that without becoming either like an elusive ghost or a relentless micromanager? Think about someone like Alex, a team lead we heard about. Her company went fully remote, right? And suddenly, her really capable team started feeling, well, disengaged. She wasn't sure. Was she giving them too much space? Or maybe accidentally suffocating them with check-ins? This whole rapid shift to distributed teams has really thrown a wrench into traditional leadership. It makes this challenge feel much bigger. So our mission today is to find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
That crucial balance where you're genuinely supporting your team, fostering their autonomy, building trust, without accidentally smothering their initiative. Because let's be honest, either extreme is just a really detrimental outcome for everyone. One path leads to being an absentee leader, and that just erodes morale, productivity.
Yeah, everything suffers.
And the other, it leads to a stifled, burned-out team. So we're going to dig into some compelling research here. Extract those crucial insights on how to navigate this, especially when, visibility and communication are so different remotely. We'll give you a shortcut, hopefully, to understanding what it means to lead effectively now, and maybe help leaders like Alex find their footing.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here is how remote work has triggered this fundamental shift in leadership dynamics. It really has. It's not just about your physical presence anymore, is it?
Not at all.
It's about purposeful, intentional engagement, stuff that translates across screens and, time zones. And this isn't just about avoiding those two traps, absenteeism or micromanagement. It's more about actively constructing a supportive, productive environment designed for how people work now, distributed. So maybe we should explore the pitfalls of both extremes first, really get a handle on their impact.
Good idea.
And then we can get into the practical strategies for striking that balance, the bit that encourages performance and well-being.
Yeah, that purposeful engagement point is critical. Because here's where it gets really interesting. A lot of leaders might genuinely mistake being hands-off for, empowering autonomy.
Common mistake.
And empowering is vital, right? It's the bedrock of great teams. But the research makes it super clear. There's a very fine line, a really fine line between truly trusting your team and unintentionally abandoning them.
Exactly.
It's subtle, but the impact is huge, especially when you can't just glance across the office,
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that unintentional abandonment, that's precisely what the material calls absentee leadership. And in a remote setting, its effects can be, way more insidious, harder to spot sometimes.
How so? What are the signs?
You can often spot these leaders by a few distinct qualities, the research points out. First, they often lack curiosity. They just don't bother taking the time to really understand their team, what they're actually working on day to day, or, and this is crucial, how they feel about their tasks.
So no real connection.
Right. It's not just a lack of interest. It's a failure to build that human connection, which is, paramount remotely. Second, they can slide towards complacency, just sort of going through the motions. No active engagement, no real support. They're often uninformed, too, totally out of the loop on key challenges or obstacles the team is facing.
Because they aren't asking.
Exactly. They aren't proactively seeking that information, which is a huge problem when you can't just overhear things. Problems fester. The material also notes they tend to avoid responsibility. They might like the title, the paycheck, but have little interest in the actual duties, like removing roadblocks or advocating for the team. And finally, they often come across as detached. Aloof, maybe. Failing to listen to feedback, respond to requests for help, it becomes pretty clear they're less interested in the team's success and maybe more focused on their own stuff.
Wow. And the consequences based on this deep dive sound genuinely devastating. Teams under these leaders end up feeling, undervalued, unsupported, disconnected?
All of the above, profoundly so.
And that's not just a bad mood. This directly leads to low morale, plummeting productivity.
And high turnover, tragically high turnover.
It really is a scenario where nobody wins. The talent you worked hard to hire just walks out the digital door. Imagine Alex's team feeling that way, like they're just adrift, no compass.
Exactly. It's an environment where the very foundation, that team cohesion, individual contribution, it just erodes. Because the guiding hand isn't there in a meaningful way, and remotely. Where those spontaneous interactions are minimal, this leadership vacuum means issues don't get spotted early. Small problems can blow up into big crises. And that lack of visible support leaves people feeling really isolated in their struggles.
Yeah.
That absence creates a gap that honestly nobody can thrive in.
Okay, so what about the other end of the spectrum? Swinging right over to micromanaging. This isn't just annoying your team, right?
Yeah.
It's actively stifling their creativity, crushing initiative.
Makes work genuinely unpleasant.
Yeah, exactly.
Ha.
It's the flip side of that same detrimental coin. And the research confirms it's just as destructive, maybe even more so remotely, where every ping or check-in can feel like an invasion.
Absolutely. Micromanaging as the opposite extreme can be just as damaging, sometimes more subtly at first. When a leader is overly involved in every tiny detail, constantly asking for updates, demanding detailed time logs, maybe even monitoring digital activity,
Wow.
it sends a really clear message. I don't think you're capable, or I don't trust you.
Yeah, that's rough.
And that, in turn, leads to a profound lack of motivation. And eventually, burnout, total burnout. It's another no-win situation. Leaders end up undermining the very talent they hired, paying people to perform at, like, a fraction of their potential because they're not trusted. Our research even mentioned one leader who insisted on hourly check-in photos of employees at their desks.
Seriously.
Photos.
Yep. A stark example of how it can go way too far and just instantly destroy trust, especially when you're not physically there. Ugh. It's like you hire these brilliant people and then stick them in a tiny digital box. No room to think or collaborate or grow, just constantly peering over their virtual shoulders. The paradox is you try to gain control, but you actually lose impact, don't you?
Precisely. You lose the very things you hired them for: their judgment, their creativity.
So if both extremes are so damaging, what's the path forward? Let's really unpack this, because the good news is there is a better way. It's all about striking that precise balance, supporting your team without, breathing down their necks, creating an environment where trust is the default.
It's a delicate dance.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it's achievable, right?
Yeah.
Even for someone like Alex trying to figure it out.
Absolutely. The goal, as the research really outlines clearly, is to foster autonomy, trust, and support, all while remaining actively and purposefully engaged with your team.
Purposefully, that word again.
It's key. Being present and impactful, but not overbearing. And the material gives us specific, actionable strategies for this balance, adapted for remote work. First one, set clear rules and expectations. And this is more than just goals and deadlines. For remote teams, it means setting up a really robust framework, like explicit communication protocols.
Okay, like when do you Slack versus email versus a call?
Exactly. Or maybe using mandatory project charters that clearly lay out deliverables, roles, who makes which decision right up front. It creates this clear structure, like a virtual blueprint. But here's the kicker. Once that framework is solid, you then give the team maximum freedom to figure out how to work within it in their own way.
Ah, I see.
Define the what and the when, but let them largely determine the how.
That makes incredible sense. It's like giving them the destination, the tools, a reliable map, but letting them pick the best route.
Right.
And that leads right into the next strategy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Stay curious and check in, which isn't about checking up on them. That can feel like surveillance remotely.
Big difference.
Instead, it's about showing genuine human interest, being curious about their challenges, their needs, their progress, their well-being. The research suggests things like maybe asynchronous mood checks, or dedicating the first few minutes of a one-on-one to just connect, not about work.
Little things matter.
It's about maintaining that ongoing dialogue, keeping them connected and supported, not just having transactional chats about tasks. Fosters psychological safety, right?
Precisely. And a critical part of that dialogue is the next strategy. Support them, but don't control them. You want to be the ultimate enabler, provide resources, guidance, help them tackle obstacles. Remotely, maybe that means creating a shared knowledge base or offering virtual office hours where you're available.
Yeah, practical stuff.
But you absolutely don't dictate how they do it. Think of it like a partnership, a supporting role. Your job is to remove roadblocks, provide clarity.
Not command every step.
Exactly. For Alex, maybe it means ensuring her team has the best collaboration software, not telling them exactly how to use every feature.
Which then flows naturally into empowering them to make decisions. I mean, you hired them for a reason.
They're the experts in their roles.
Right. So if a task or decision is within their scope, within that clear framework you set up, you need to trust them.
Let them do their job.
Don't swoop in and take over, even if it's tempting.
The research advises coaching them. Guide them by asking probing questions, not giving direct orders.
And let them think it through.
Yeah, and then let them learn from the results. Maybe use frameworks like delegation poker or a Rasky matrix in a virtual meeting.
Yeah.
Just to clarify who's responsible for what remotely. Adds transparency and empowers them.
Learning from results. That's so important. And that leads to feedback loops are your friend.
Absolutely key.
It's vital to make sure all channels are open for feedback. And it goes both ways, right? Up, down, across the team.
Yes, critically both ways. And for remote teams, this needs intentional design. Maybe regular anonymous pulse surveys or dedicated what went well even better if sessions after projects using shared docs or virtual whiteboards. And crucially, the research emphasizes having a specific agenda item in every single 1.1 meeting, just for the team member to give you feedback.
On your leadership.
Yep. Welcome input on how you can better support them. Be willing to genuinely tweak your approach. It's a continuous improvement cycle. Builds huge trust when people feel heard.
That's a powerful difference, not just giving feedback, but actively asking for it about yourself. And finally, the material reminds us, invest in the growth and development of your team members.
Fundamental, not just a nice to have.
Especially remotely, where career paths can feel less visible sometimes.
For sure. This is about helping emerging leaders become leaders within the team, equipping everyone to be successful and efficient.
So practical examples, like sponsoring online courses, setting up virtual mentoring.
Yeah, or even just dedicated skill-sharing sessions where team members teach each other something new. It's a forward-looking strategy. Pays off big time in the long run with retention and motivation.
Absolutely. It's seeing them as individuals with potential, not just, cogs.
And to help with this, the research also gives some great self-reflection questions for leaders. Really crucial for staying in that sweet spot, like, what can I genuinely do to support them better, given our remote setup? Or am I maybe too involved right now, adding friction, and am I stepping on toes by getting into the details too often?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is. And also, am I facilitating their problem solving, or am I just jumping in with solutions?
Vital questions for self-awareness.
Incredibly powerful. And not just for leaders to ask themselves privately, the research strongly suggests openly asking your team some of these questions directly. Get their genuine feedback.
Maybe through an anonymous survey or in a team meeting.
Yeah, make it safe. Because ultimately, the goal is to consistently balance how you manage remotely. Avoid those damaging extremes we talked about.
It's about creating that trust-based environment where everyone can flourish, like Alex learned to do when she started applying these ideas.
Yeah, the ultimate aim is that robust framework, those clear remote-friendly expectations, and then fostering deep autonomy and trust within that structure, that kind of balanced, intentional leadership. That's what creates healthy, resilient teams. Teams that feel valued, empowered, connected, even when they're apart.
It's a proactive, human-centered approach, builds long-term engagement, sustainable success. So there you have it, our deep dive into navigating leadership's sweet spot, right between micromanagement and being too hands-off. It really boils down to creating that clear framework, those explicit expectations suited for remote work, and then combining it with fostering genuine autonomy and unwavering trust.
That's the recipe.
That, our research tells us, is the definitive recipe for success, for creating healthy teams that feel valued, supported, and truly empowered.
Which raises an important question for you, our listener. Considering everything we've discussed today about finding that leadership sweet spot, especially remotely, what single specific action or maybe dedicated conversation will you initiate this week? To move closer to that ideal balance within your own team or professional context, will you maybe refine a communication protocol? Actively ask for upward feedback, consciously delegate a key decision.
That's a really challenging and actionable thought to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive today, for your attention, and for taking the time to reflect on these powerful insights. We really hope it helps you lead your team more effectively, more confidently in this new world of work. Until next time, keep diving deep.